Not all DLC guns in Call of the Wild are meant for the same type of hunter. If you're trying to decide which weapon DLCs are actually worth picking up in Call of the Wild, this video will save you a lot of guesswork. Today I'm ranking the top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild for 2026, rifles, pistols, and shotguns based on versatility, class coverage, and how useful they are across multiple maps and playstyles. I'll show you exactly which weapon pack each gun comes from, which classes it covers, and I'm test firing every single one so you can see how they perform in real gameplay. This isn't about what's good or bad, it's about which DLC guns give you the most value depending on how you play. Let me know in the comments, if you could only buy one weapon DLC, which gun would you pick and why? And let's do it. Now before we head into the countdown, let me know, before you see the full list, what DLC gun you think is going to be number one. Drop it in the comments and let's head into it. Coming in at number 10 on our list is a weapon that has actually been in the game for quite a long time. It only has one shot. It's not the kind of rifle that you would take on every hunt, but it definitely is a lot of fun to use, and it is the Hudzik Caplock muzzleloader. Now the muzzleloader actually came out in 2020. It comes in the Smoke and Barrels weapon pack. So it has two different ammos. Between the two, it is good for classes 3 to 8. It has its own scope, and its zeroing distances are a little different from the norm. So it actually zeroes in at 100 meters, 150 meters, and 200 meters. And when you take the shot, it leaves you in a pile of smoke. Sometimes you can't even tell if you got your kill until the smoke goes away. But this has definitely been a fan favorite ever since it came out. It is a lot of fun to use. I have taken several great ones with the Hudzik Caplock muzzleloader. It's not the only muzzleloader in the game, but it definitely is the favorite muzzleloader and the most powerful. Now it does have a really crazy long reload animation. Takes about 1.5 years to reload. Not quite, but does take a long time. And we did get a double long look at the insane penetration, and that is with the mini balls. So that is the Hudzik Caplock muzzleloader. So there are two different ammos for the muzzleloader. There is the 50 caliber mini balls, which have a penetration of 40 and an expansion of 30 and are good for classes 4 to 8. Then the 50 caliber round balls are good for classes 3 to 7. They have a penetration of 30 and an expansion of 30 as well. So the mini balls have more penetration. Coming in at number 9 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is the Marathi Model 1894. Now, this is a little bit of a different kind of rifle. It has 6 shots. Now, unfortunately, it only zeroes up to 150 meters, which is one of its downfalls. I would prefer if it zeroed all the way up to 300 meters, but 150 is what we got. But it does have a lot of benefits. This weapon has crazy penetration, like crazy, and it is good from classes 3 all the way up to 8. So I can use it on feral goats. Oh, that's a big old fox. Can't shoot that with it. Where'd it go? And splat! Beautiful. He went insta-splat, hit the floor. He did not feel a thing. So the Marathi comes in the Ambusher DLC. Okay, here is our goat. We got a double lung shot from 123 meters, and look at the insane penetration on a quartering shot. Pretty great. So with the ammunitions for the Marathi, you actually will find them in the handgun ammo, and it is the 44 flat nose hard cast bullets, which have a penetration of 70, crazy penetration, and an expansion of 16, and the 44 jacketed hollow point bullets, which have a penetration of 17 and an expansion of 70. So I definitely use the flat nose hard cast bullets when I am hunting with the Marathi. This is one of the highest penetrations for an ammunition in the entire game. So it really has crazy penetration. Coming in at number 8 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is the only shotgun on our list, and it is the Strandberg 10 gauge. Now, I absolutely love this shotgun. It has 4 shots. It zeroes in at 25, 50, and 75 meters. And when I started using this shotgun, I just started making way more shots. Now, the Strandberg comes in the high caliber weapon pack. Now, the Cacciatore is another amazing shotgun, but it is non-DLC. It has 6 shots, and those are my 2 favorite shotguns in the entire game. And I am using the Hermes 3 7x33 handgun / shotgun scope on the Strandberg. And it is an amazing scope, and that comes in the Scopes and Crosshair DLC. Oh, we have a goose right here. And splat. Beautiful. We pummeled that goose from 20 meters. And there you go. That is the Strandberg. Now, there are 3 different ammunitions for the Strandberg. There is the 10 gauge plastic birdshot, which is good for classes 1 and 2. Then we have the 10 gauge plastic buckshot, which is good for classes 4 to 7. And the 10 gauge plastic slugs, which are good for classes 6 to 9. So the Strandberg is good for classes 1 and 2 and 4 to 9. So basically it's good for every class except for 3. Coming in at number 7 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is my personal favorite class 4 to 8 rifle in the entire game, and that is the Hansen 30-06. Now the Hansen 30-06 comes in the Rapid Hunt rifle pack. Again, it is good for classes 4 to 8. I like to use the polymers, and I just really love this rifle. I love the sound it makes. It does an amazing job. It's super powerful. Let's see how many pigs we can take. Has 5 shots. Okay, so there is the shot. It has awesome penetration. That was a 176 meter shot, and we are using the polymers. So here are the 2 ammos for the Hansen. We have the polymers, which have a penetration of 45 and an expansion of 13, and the soft points, which have a penetration of 19 and an expansion of 53. So I always use the polymers. Coming in at number 6 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is probably the most powerful class 7 to 9 rifle in the game. The rifle I am referring to is the Valgarda 375. Now the 375 comes in the Hunter's Choice bolt action rifle pack, along with the Johansson 450 and the Forza Elite 300. It is good for classes 7 to 9. It zeroes in at 75, 150, and 300 meters. Now what sets this rifle apart from other class 7 to 9 rifles is the crazy penetration that it gets. It will double lung a moose almost all of the time, whereas the Arzina only double lugs a moose once in a blue moon if you get lucky. Now the one drawback of this rifle is that it does have quite a bit of recoil, being a bolt action. So I'm going to take 2 shots here. Pay attention to the jolt, the extra jolt that you see after I take the first shot and have to line up the second shot. That is what I don't like about it. Here we go. There it is. Still was able to take the second shot. We got him. Now, we didn't double lung the second moose, but I'm pretty sure we did with the first. Let's go have a look. Now, I should say it will double lung a broadside moose. It may not double lung a moose with a crazy angle. Okay, here they are. So look at that. Double lung right in the thickest part of the lung. It's not like it's up in the top corner where it gets a little not as thick. And that was from 181 meters. It's not like it was a 70 meter shot. So that is pretty great. And the penetration is pretty great as well. And here, yeah, with that much angle, it's impossible to double lung a moose. But yeah, the penetration with the Valgarda is amazing. I love the Arzina, but I grind moose with the Valgarda because of the crazy penetration. Okay, here is the ammo for the 375. So with the polymers, they have a penetration of 48 and an expansion of 15, whereas the soft points have a penetration of 19 and an expansion of 28. So I definitely always go for the polymers. Coming in at number 5 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is a tie between 2 Class 1 rifles. Well, one of them is actually for Class 1 and 2, and they are the Virant 22 LR and the Anantha Action 22 Mag. Now, this is the Virant 22. The Virant comes in Weapon Pack 1. It is only good for Class 1. It's not good for Classes 1 and 2, and it zeroes in at 50, 100, and 150 meters. Now, what I love about the Virant 22 is the fact that it has 10 shots. Now, when you're shooting anything that is flying overhead, you're going to need all 10 shots, especially if you're hunting mustelids in Scotland. Man, they're fast. You're going to need all 10 shots. So I take the Virant to every map that I go. That extra 5 shots compared to the Zarza 22 makes all the difference. Now, whenever you're shooting a 22, you want to be perfectly zeroed because you're shooting at a very tiny target. So we have mallard ducks over there. So I'm going to try and get to exactly 150 meters from my target so that I am perfectly zeroed. Being 5 or 10 meters off could make the difference between making your shot and missing. Okay, that's the one. Got him! Beautiful. And if you want to continue shooting ducks, wait for them to go calm, and then continue shooting, and continue that cycle, and they will not spook. So I'm going to wait for them to calm down, and then we're going to shoot one with the Anantha action. So the Anantha action comes in the pump, flip, and fire weapon pack, along with the Giddings SSC, 410 Coyote, and the Frost 257. It's good for classes 1 and 2, which is really nice. That means when you're hunting in Scotland, you can hunt all 3 mustelids with this one rifle, including badgers. Okay, so this time I'm going to shoot a female. Beautiful. Now, the Anantha action is louder and will spook them, whereas the Virant is quieter and will not spook them. So that is a pretty big difference. But what's better about the Anantha is that it is good for classes 1 and 2. What's better about the Virant is that it is quieter and will not spook them. So you can use the Virant 22 to do the 22 trick. And if you don't know what the 22 trick is, that is when you shoot a 22 right beside an animal in order to get it to move so you can take a better angled shot. And you can't do that with the Zarza 22 or with the Anantha. You can only do that with the Virant. Okay, so this is the duck we took with the Anantha. There's the shot from exactly 150 meters. Now, you don't need a vital with class 1 species. You just need to kill it within 1 or 2 shots, and the Anantha did a great job. And this is the mallard that we took with the Virant 22. We are using the 22 truncated cone bullets. Not much penetration, but it went splat, and that's all that matters. So there are 2 different ammunitions for the Virant 22. There is the 22 jacketed hollow point bullets, which have a penetration of 5 and an expansion of 10. And there is the 22 truncated cone bullets, which have a much greater penetration. So they have a penetration of 17 and an expansion of 1. So I actually only use the truncated cone bullets. Then for the Anantha action, there are 2 different ammunitions. There is the 22 mag hollow point bullet, which has an expansion of 8 and an expansion of 9, and the 22 mag jacketed hollow point bullets, which have a penetration of 10 and an expansion of 7. So I do prefer to use the 22 mag jacketed hollow point bullets when I am using the Anantha action. And I should mention that I do find it easier to shoot ducks out of the sky with the Anantha than with any of the other 22s. Coming in at number 4 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is the absolute best class 2 to 6 rifle in the entire game. The weapon I am referring to is the Frost 257. Now, the Frost comes in the pump, flip, and fire weapon pack. I did extensive testing on the Frost, and it is way more powerful than the Quist Reaper and the 243. It actually is just as powerful and gets just as much penetration on a class 4 or 5 species from 200 meters. It's when you get out to 300 meters that it's not quite as powerful as the 308, but it should be. It's not the same class rifle. So the Frost zeroes in at 75, 150, and 300 meters. And it sounds amazing. We should have got him there. Yes, we did. So we got a double lung shot. Look at the insane penetration from 173 meters with the Frost. That's pretty impressive. It really is. Yeah, I can't say enough about the Frost. I really love the Frost. It is such a great weapon, and it is very powerful for being just a class 2 to 6 rifle. So here is the ammo for the Frost. So there is the 257 polymers, which have a penetration of 36 and an expansion of 6, and the soft points, which have a penetration of 17 and an expansion of 20. So I do opt for the polymer tips. Coming in at number 3 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is the most popular class 4 to 8 rifle in the entire game. And the rifle I'm referring to is the Zarza 308. Now, the Zarza 308 comes in the Modern Rifles weapon pack. This is the rifle that I have used to shoot thousands and thousands of whitetail and all kinds of other species in order to try and spawn a great one. It zeroes in at 75, 150, and 300 meters. It has 5 shots. It sounds amazing, and it just does an amazing job. I'm going to try and take as many whitetail down here as I can. Double splat! I will take it. Now, preference really does come into play, but everybody seems to love the 308, including me. It just sounds amazing. It does an incredible job. Look at the penetration. This whitetail did not have a hope. So here is the ammo for the 308. There is the polymers, which have a penetration of 44 and an expansion of 13, and the soft points, which have a penetration of 19 and an expansion of 52. Coming in at number 1 on our list of top 10 best DLC guns in Call of the Wild is my personal absolute favorite rifle in the entire game, and it is the Arzina 300. Now, the Arzina 300 comes in the high caliber weapon pack. It is good for classes 7 to 9. It zeroes in at 75, 150, and 300 meters. This is the rifle that I use on pretty much every Great One grind. Even when the 300 doesn't get integrity, I am still grinding with it. Why? Because it is powerful. Not as powerful as the 375, but with the Arzina, there is almost no recoil. Watch as I shoot 2 moose here. That's crazy. Almost no recoil. I do have 3 points in recoil management, but compared to other rifles, it's crazy how little recoil there is. We did get 2 vitals. Now, this is not the last weapon on our countdown. I do have an honorable mention, and it's a pistol. Now, the 300 mag, which comes with the Yukon Valley DLC, used to be my favorite rifle until the Arzina came out, and it completely replaced the 300 mag for me. So we got a single lung. We did have quite a bit of an angle there, but we did get this moose and did a great job. And I just love how smooth and how little recoil there is with the 300. And this is our other moose, and we did not have an angle, and the Arzina did not double lung the moose, so it is definitely not as powerful as the 375, but it is still an amazing rifle. Here is the ammo for the 300. So we have the 300 Magnum polymers, which have a penetration of 42 and an expansion of 14, and the soft points, which have a penetration of 21 and an expansion of 60. So I always use the polymers. Now, I do have an honorable mention, one more weapon that I would like to show you that deserves to be on this list, and it is a pistol. It is the 10mm Devaney. Now, this is a very popular pistol. It's good for classes 2 to 6. Now, the 10mm Devaney has its own scope. It uses the Marksman Devaney reflex scope. So this is what it looks like through the scope. So you do have to get pretty close. Now, it zeroes in at 25, 50, and 75 meters. So you don't really want to be much further than that. I am about 75 meters, and they're starting to figure out that I'm here. I need to shoot this wolf. Okay, here we go. Was it good? Looked good? I don't know. Let's go see. And we got a vital. Yes, beautiful. Okay, we got him. We got a double lung liver shot from 61.91 meters, so it's closer than I thought. Look at the crazy penetration. So the Devaney is a great defensive weapon, and it has a crazy amount of shots. So 15 shots. You never need to stop and reload when you're hunting with the Devaney. So the ammo for the Devaney includes the 10mm auto hard cast flat nose bullets that have a penetration of 50 and an expansion of 8, and the 10mm auto jacketed hollow point bullets, which have a penetration of 12 and an expansion of 36. So I like to use the auto hard cast flat nose bullets when I'm using the 10mm. And that's my top 10 DLC guns in Call of the Wild for 2026. Tested, trusted, and proven after way too many hours in this game. Now listen, this list is based on performance, versatility, and real in-game results, not just vibes. So if your personal favorite didn't make the cut, don't panic. It doesn't mean it's bad, it just means I didn't put it in my top 10. If this video helped you figure out which weapon packs are actually worth your money, do me a favor and drop a like. It really helps the channel out a ton, and I want to hear from you. What DLC gun never leaves your loadout no matter what map you're on? If you're new here, welcome! I've got guides, grinds, trophies, chaos, and probably a few bot shots waiting for you, so hit that subscribe button and I'll see you on the next hunt. And if you'd like to keep the countdown going, definitely click here for every reserve ranked from worst to best in Call of the Wild.